talk a little bit, a pretty good bit actually, about your portfolio or your final exam. You've noticed it is worth 55% of your grade. It is kind of a big deal. The reason why it's worth 55% is, of course, as we have talked about, their inquiry project is graded as a part of this portfolio. So your project is part of this big portfolio that you're turning in. It's just not the only thing in it. That's why it's worth a big part of your grade, because it's the work that's assessed, and this are things that you've been working on all semester. So kind of the main, there's two, I guess, types of assignments that are going to be a major part of your portfolio. You have the evidence of, in terms of like new stuff. So you have your inquiry project, and the things that you're adding are evidence of your work this semester. So it is going to be like your final drafts of projects, but you might also have some other work you're going to be selecting. We've did some practice for this at the midterm, and you'll do a little bit more before you actually complete the portfolio. But notebook entries, notes, drafts, studio work, that kind of stuff you might select to include in the writing theory portion of your portfolio. There's some other reflective components that you're going to be adding to your writing theory and your main portfolio homepage. So these will be due at the end of the term. They're going to be due during final exam week. I'll post a little bit more information about that once I get the final options for conferences, those dates kind of set. So you are going to include several pages on your Wix site, which you've already set up and played with a little bit at this point. You're going to have your portfolio homepage. There's not going to be a menu. It's going to be set up the way our syllabus is, where you're obviously going to give me access to your writing theory, your digital essay, your annotated bib, but you're going to include either buttons or links to those from this main portfolio page. Okay, you will be creating pages for your writing theory and for your digital essay. Sure, composing your writing theory on the site, you're composing your digital essay on the site. So again, you're not going to be using a menu for this. This is a single page site. There are these 3 pages. I give you some information about these. So the portfolio is like your home or like your landing page. So this is the page where you're explaining to an outside audience that comes to your page like what this portfolio is, what it shows about your work over the course of this semester. I think one of the main mistakes that people make with this part of the portfolio is that they end up focusing on their project, and your project is a big part of what you've been doing, but it's a platform for things that we've been working on. So there's been more that we've been working on aside from just the project itself. So on this page, you are going to provide access to the things I'm going to be looking at: your annotated bib, Google Doc, your digital essay on this site, your writing theory on this site. While they're not going to be on the menu, you can decide where you want to include the links to this on the page. You might decide you want to include like a table of contents or something and include those. It's kind of up to you if you just want to write about them and include the links there. You'll look at some samples that did this different ways, so it's up to you. But this is where you're going to kind of talk about what the portfolio is about and give me access to things. So there's 3 main things this page should cover. It should, again, give me some context for the rhetorical situation of the portfolio, what it is as a collection of work, what it shows about your inquiry, your learning, the trajectory of your thinking this semester. It will offer some information about your project as well. You're going to be offering as part of that 2 important things. Information about the goals of the class, so those key writerly concepts, those 5 key concepts in your own words. There's some samples to help with this. And then there's also information about your inquiry project. That's also where you can give me links to your annotated bib and your digital essay as you're talking about that. Okay, so again, this is about 350 words, so a little bit longer than a page. Again, we're about a page. And again, because this page is just kind of like the home, it's the platform, it's where you're just giving me context for what the portfolio is, what your project is, what we've been learning, and then you're going to link me to the things that I'm going to be looking further at. There is a rubric for this, which you can kind of go through. It kind of works the same as the other ones, 60 points for meeting requirements, and then some other things that are in the prompts are down here. Design and reader friendliness is part of part of most, if not all, of the rubrics. just because it is important. Remember I said with modes, like it always matters how things look and how things are laid out. All of the modes matter because all readers read with all 5 modes. Like we read with through all 5 of those pathways. So considering your audience and how like easy it is to find things and how clear things are, all those things matter. There's still, again, a little bit of wiggle room kind of built in to the page a little bit to give some extra bonus points, especially if people like, had asked questions, came to, conferences, that kind of thing. Your writing theory is the other page in your digital essay, and this just links you to the regular digital essay page. This is kind of just an overview of that writing theory. So you can kind of read through this. This is, again, like kind of your personal theory of writing. It includes in your description of good writing, which we've been working on building those ideas all semester, along with a little discussion about your previous sort of writing influences that may have contributed to that, and a class reflection that's kind of aimed at talking about like key concepts and things that we've been working on this semester that you've added into your theory, and providing a reflection on your project, your annotated bib, and your digital essay, that kind of stuff. So there's more detailed assignment sheet here. Again, I'm going to skip down with this. I'm going to let you read through some of these things, but I'm going to go through. The length of this is 1,400 words. It does hit kind of 2 big groups, and I want to kind of focus on going through these sorts of things. The first part is your personal theory of writing. It's what we've kind of been working on getting thoughts for during the course of the semester. So you've had a couple of revisits and brainstormings for this. So you're going to talk mostly about kind of you have a big picture of like features of good writing, like what a successful piece of writing looks like, what it accomplishes, what it includes, skills good writers have. So you've done some prompts with this, and also you have to reference at least 2 of the 5 key concepts. And I don't mean like kind of drop them in, but in a way that shows that you know what they mean. You're going to talk about what good writing looks like for you. So this is more of that personal discussion of your own writing and your strengths and weaknesses. Any other sorts of like communication or writing contexts that are especially important for you that influence what you think about, like research and writing. And then also what influences you've had. And I gave you some ideas there, like what sorts of other experiences besides this class obviously have contributed to what seems important or what you struggle with or think you're good at, that kind of stuff. Your writing theory reflection, which kind of talks more about from the perspective of class, like where these ideas have come from or been explained or what you've worked on during the course of this semester. So you're going to talk mostly about like changes that have taken place in your theory, or beliefs that have been supported, what changes have happened over the course of the semester. Activities, so specific activities which we've practiced for and done some brainstorming for as well, that may have like changed or better supported beliefs, skills you've worked on or have a better understanding because of your inquiry project. So here are your requirements for that sort of class reflection. You have to, again, reference at least 2 key concepts, preferably the ones you talked about above, because that would tie it together, make it make sense. At least 7 examples of your work or course text. So these could be quotes from readings. This could be feedback on your assignments. This could be notes. This could be activities, early drafts, anything that you have from this semester. You must include a detailed reflection of your project. So part of this is really like the major thing we did to work on stuff. Like we have like the places where we did like messy note taking and we did activities and things, but the place where we really like worked on stuff was in your project. So what you're going to do for both assignments, for the annotated bibliography and then also for the digital essay, like as you get to that, is reflect on the skills you worked on and revisions you made during the process. And that's kind of the gist, is to note like what the reader should notice about like what went on behind the scenes for you putting this piece of the project together, what you learned, what you struggled with. So it kind of helps see like what happened, what the writer did behind the scenes or the researcher did behind the scenes, and what they were thinking like during the process. So things you're proud of, what you want people to notice, the revisions that you made using examples of your work to do that. and like writing skills or research skills that you worked on or improved with. And again, like using examples of your work to talk about that, referencing activities and things from class, and to talk about maybe what you think came out really well or something you would work on if you had more time. For the digital essay, you're doing a couple of extra things because it was more open and you had more freedom. And responsibility for coming up with your own goals and really practicing taking ownership of that rhetorical situation for yourself, explaining your purpose and thesis and target audience, and why you designed it the way you did, that kind of thing, and what changes you made during the process and why, and strategies. This one is really important, the strategies that you use to make your essay effective. So we're getting into rhetorical knowledge. What rhetorical strategies did you use that we worked on, like appeals, like talking about pathos, ethos, or evidence, or design and modes and things like that. Digital essay requirements. The main thing of this is make sure you're giving me easy access, reader-friendly access to the work that you're talking about. Make sure if you're quoting from things from class that you're citing that and that we know who you're citing. No downloadable files. You can link me to things in your Google Doc. You can include images. You can embed files. Please, nothing I have to click on that downloads a file. It's super unreader friendly. When you're talking about like digital writing and digital design, for people to have to download a bunch of files and sift through everything and then have to delete them later. It's not the best way to do it. So in terms of like when you're talking about your examples of work, you'll notice a lot of the examples, if not all of them, did this. Like as they were talking about that activity, that's where they included the picture of it or the link to it. Just like you would in your digital essay. This is basically a digital essay. It's just about class instead of about a topic. You wouldn't include like all the evidence and then just like dump all your pictures at the bottom. That would suck, right, for the reader, and it wouldn't be as effective. Same thing. I do allow people sometimes to make like a gallery and like number them and provide captions in the gallery. There's an option on Wix to include like a bunch of things in a gallery. So to include, a gallery of your work at the bottom of the page with captions and numbers, and then just number as you're talking about it. I have had people do that before, but the by far most popular option is to do it the way you would do any other kind of writing. Like, and the examples show that. Like if you're, when you mention that activity, show me a picture of it, give me a link to your work, that kind of thing. Provide titles and authors for course text being referenced so we know what you're talking about, and provide like titles and brief summaries of course activities you're talking about. So there's some context, and to be honest, like I might not be the only person that ever reads this. This might also be something that we look at for assessment and things like that. So just the program and department look at for assessment and things like that later on. So be thinking not just about whether I know, because I know my own activities, right? But be thinking about a broader audience and whether they understand what happened in this activity. So strong writing theories. It shows that you understand what we did this semester. It's very much is a final exam, but you get to select what you want to talk about, but you do have to show that you learned stuff. So a nuanced understanding of like key concepts and writerly terms that we talked about, a really close analysis of your work. It could mean like quoting from your own work, or like referencing your ideas and points. What you want to stay away from is just evaluating things, like saying I really liked this activity, it helped me get to this next step, which is more about the activity. Again, you're reading something now about as I'm making this video, about reflecting on the writer instead of the piece itself. Like for this, you're thinking about not what the activity helped you do big picture, but you're looking at like what happened for you in this activity. What did you learn? What did you write in this piece that shows that it was something new or different or a struggle? What does it show that you like revised or worked on? Like you're looking for things about your own writing and research in these examples, not what they helped with in terms of the class. Let's see. Relevant and insightful connections, so quoting from course text, talking about things that we did this semester. Maybe also talking about like making connections to, there is a prompt in your writing theory that's going to kind of show you, get you to do this anyway, but talk about like previous experiences and other classes and things like that, but kind of branching out with that a little bit. So not just in a vacuum. There's a couple of design tips, and there is a again, a rubric, just to kind of help you know what to expect and how it's going to be graded and things like that. I'm going to go back to, if it thinks, the portfolio page. Down here at the end, you have your portfolio assessment. So I'm going to go here first. So the portfolio again is worth 55% of the grade. And down there's kind of a whole portfolio rubric. So you have a rubric that gives you a homepage rubric score, gives you a writing theory score, gives you an annotated bib score, gives you a digital essay score. This just tells you like how much those things are worth toward your portfolio grade. So your homepage is worth 5%. Writing theory is 20%, annotated bib and digital essay are each worth 30. It's just sort of this holistic, like, did I see key concepts, knowledge, and work moving through your portfolio? It gives me a way to look at your portfolio, like just the big picture of, did I see you working on or like either mastery of or practicing with the specific key concepts that we're practicing this semester. So rhetorical knowledge, knowledge of conventions, critical reading, composing processes, critical reflection, that kind of stuff. So, and there is a place to add in your quiz bonus. Remember, if you get over 100%, you get to keep some of those. You get to keep up to 3 points. So if you have 103% on your quiz average, then you get those bonus points here to add to your portfolio grade. Below is sort of a self-assessment checklist. I know people have found this really helpful in the past. Like, I know that you have rubrics, and those rubrics are on each assignment sheet, but this is a really nice and detailed like checklist that sort of brings a whole lot of stuff like together on one page that you could just sort of self-check with before you turn it in. It's sort of divided into like home page, like your home like portfolio page and your portfolio design as a whole, into one kind of checklist, and then annotated bibliography, digital essay, writing theory, and you can kind of look through all that stuff. But the way, I guess like the way it's set up is you have like your obvious, like your I divided into more like, here's obvious requirements and here's some of the goals and expectations that we worked on, that if you're wanting a higher grade beyond just meeting requirements, here's some of the stuff to pay attention to, right? So for each one, you have a set of like just the requirements, and the basic like higher goals and expectations. So again, you have that for each one. The digital essay, I did split up the essay, the goals, because there's a lot of goals that we worked on. I did kind of split it up so you could kind of bounce around and look for some different things and use it as a way to check your work. That is it. Going back to the portfolio page, we're going to look at some of these examples. I'll go through a couple of these. I'm actually going to start with example 4. Give it a second to think. Then I'm going to go back to example 1. So this is actually one from the spring semester. I guess in terms of requirements, it's the closest to what you're doing. The difference is like the context for the inquiry project. So that this is their inquiry project page. And for this semester, I had some of this context stuff included in the home page, and then some of the reflective components I had you add into the writing theory. And that's kind of the only huge difference. But they have the same major assignments, annotated bibliography and the digital essay. This is more of a digitally designed, enhanced academic essay. So it's very well designed and clean cut and kind of matches the design of the portfolio as a whole, which is kind of themed after the topic. So I have to move my little window down so I can click on the writing theory part. And again, you can kind of go through, and again, like one of the key things to remember is there's, still writing this as, this is still like a digitally designed kind of essay when you're talking about the writing theory. So this concept was strongly reinforced in the Burke's Parlor reading. So they have a quote from that reading. They have right here where I can see, this actually links you, if you click on it, you can see the link. Oh, sorry. If you see the link there, at the bottom of the page when I click on it. Oh, it's doing something really strange. Okay, let's scroll back down. Sorry, little computer snafu there. If you clicked on it, it would take you to that reading. And then also a piece that shows like what activity they're talking about. So things are really helpful. So showing me like examples from work or examples of their own writing. I would prefer like if you're going to do something like this and show this, you're also going to show like the example of like what you wrote about it. So that's the only thing I would do differently. I'm going to look also at the first example. This is example 1 on the list, and if you want an example, this whole thing also was very well themed, like after their topic. Everything was very consistent and clean and unified and harmonious. For the writing theory, if you want an example of how it's done in terms of the content, this is the example, because this is actually an award-winning reflection piece from the First Year Writing Awards. This was first place in the reflective writing category from submissions from about 2 years ago, I think. So if you want to look at an example of like how to write a good reflection, this is the one to look at. Here is another one. Just show some different ways you can do it. You can kind of get some ideas for design and how to do things. So this one is, I picked some ones that just were good, but also looked a little bit different. And they themed hers kind of around a quote and picked a consistent like color scheme throughout. And then I believe this is a different one. Okay, yeah. So it's kind of the same thing. Like you can kind of see it's themed differently, designed differently. And I'm hoping by showing some different ones, you'll at least get some different ideas and some different, just a different sense of how you could do it. This one is very kind of clean cut and essayistic and helpful in terms of how like when they're naming and describing like the exact assignment, they can show me the assignment. So for this one, it gives me the title of it, the reading, and also explains like what it was, and then talks about the work that they did. Super helpful. And then look at the last one. Move this back. And this one is, again, I think we've looked at this as an example of a digital essay, and while my computer is thinking, the digital essay for this one, again, I know I mentioned this already, but the digital essay for this one was an award-winning inquiry writing piece from about a year ago, so this is also a good one to look at. You can also just kind of get some ideas. This one, her topic was children's literature. It was themed very well kind of around that, so you can kind of scroll through this site and get some ideas, and here's some samples. And again, you'll have a chance to, show me your portfolio and talk to me about it before you turn it in. We'll be doing a writing theory kind of collaboration so people can look and get some ideas from what other people in class are doing. This is a very independent project because it is sort of a final exam, but it's a final exam that includes work we've been working on all semester. You get to choose what to talk about. You get to ask for advice and get help before turning it in. So be on the lookout for opportunities for those times to get feedback before you turn in your portfolio. Peace.